What's going on? Whoa. We'll keep that going in the background for a little bit. Welcome to KO Bets. My name is Bill. We've got to break down UFC Fight Night. Sandhagen taking on Nurmagomedov. We're going to cut the music altogether. Before I get started, please like the stream, subscribe to my channel. I appreciate the support tremendously. I'm on YouTube and Twitch right now. You'll see my Twitter all over, the stream throughout this. If you want to give me a follow there, I do post all of my bets for free Saturday morning. So I'll do that tomorrow morning. I wasn't ready. I said I wasn't ready. I'm about to say I was ready to go. That's why I went early. First fight of the night, we got a Sandhagen Dumas taking on Denis Toluin. Sandhagen Dumas, haven't been the most impressed with him thus far in the UFC. He had the loss to Fremd in his debut. Just got knocked out. But he's taking on Denis Toluin, 10-9 as a fighter professionally, and he hasn't looked good either. So I think this is a winnable fight for Sandhagen Dumas, who's going to have... This is going to be a winnable fight for Sandhagen Dumas. Denis Toluin, 1-2 in decisions. He's getting knocked out. He's getting knocked out a lot. And submitted. Does Denis Toluin crack Sandhagen Dumas? Possibly. I think this is a winnable fight for Sandhagen. I'm going to roll with Sandhagen in this. I think he gets it done via, second round submission. Denis is pretty good on the feet. I don't really trust Sandhagen in this spot. That, all things being said, I don't trust him here. So I probably wouldn't bet money line. I probably wouldn't parlay money line. I don't hate it if you take a shot on Denis Toluin to win. It could be a really close fight. We saw a split decision with Sandhagen, right? Oh no, they gave him a unanimous decision against Abu. But he did not... I don't know. Sandhagen doesn't have a lot of output. Doesn't have a lot of volume. I kind of think his recipe to win is going to be the submission here. Jai Herbert taking on Rolando Bedoya. This is an interesting fight. I really like both of these guys. I really like Jai Herbert though. I think this fight does take place on the feet, and I guess I'm kind of curious what version of Jai Herbert we're going to see. We haven't seen a whole lot of output from him against Ziam, who's, obviously Ludovic Klein, Zion, good kickers, right? So I think there was their recipe to win. Ilia Topuria, he was looking really good round one and then just kind of got, folded against Ilia. No problem there. The durability is for sure an issue with Jai Herbert, but I think he's the better fighter here. I think he's going to have the crisper hands. I think he's going to be looking to counter-strike against a guy like Rolando, who's going to have the output, going to have the pressure, the forward pressure here, and is much more durable. So I've been kind of back and forth on this one. I think I'm going to I think I'm going to settle on Jai Herbert to get this done via decision. I think he goes out there and he just puts on a great stand-up clinic. I mean, I don't think Rolando Bedoya's throwing a ton of kicks. I could be wrong there. Yeah, I mean, a little less than half of his strikes go to the body or legs. I mean, it's not so much the low kick I'm worried about. It's the lead leg. It's that karate style, that lead leg, using it to control the distance. Herbert's always got a big height advantage, it seems like, when he's in fights. Bedoya, in this picture, it looks like I don't know if it's because his pants are hiked up high, but, like, damn. He's got some arms. Next fight, we've got Victoria Dudakova taking on Sam Hughes. Well, let's check real quick the Jai Herbert decision odds. Plus 150. Oh, shit. Boom. Victoria Dudakova taking on Sam Hughes. I mean, Victoria Dudakova, she didn't look great in her last fight, but she won. Sam Hughes, in my opinion, has never looked great early in fights. I think Victoria Dudakova is just going to be the sharper fighter everywhere this goes. Sam Hughes, not great takedown defense. Not great when she gets to the mat. I think her best attribute is just her pressure, her durability, you know, the willingness to go 15 minutes. And I think Victoria Dudakova can win this fight pretty easily. So I'm going to go with Victoria to get this done via decision. I kind of like Victoria as potentially a money line bet, I guess, or via decision bet. Looks like her and over. Is that under? I thought that was under fight parlays. Oh, here we go. Victoria Dudakova and over. I mean, not a huge improvement to the odds, so. But I think it's going to be a decision for Dudakova. Garam Kudaladze taking on Jordan Vucinic. Jordan Vucinic stepping in on short notice. Garam is coming off of a couple of losses against tough opponents. Elvis Brenner, Demir Ismagulov. And Vucinic, he's coming off a lot of first-round finishes. 1, 2, 3... Sorry, not first round. First or second round finishes. Submissions. Early submission wins. I think stylistically, if you're a jiu-jitsu artist and you're going to rely on the submission game, I think a fighter like Garam is a tough opponent. So I'm going to go with Garam to get it done here. I think it'll probably be a decision where he just wrestles down Jordan. He should have the better stand-up, better striking, but he just wrestles down Jordan and stays safe in the guard. I think that's the recipe to win for Garam here. So he's a heavy favorite at minus 225. Odds makers like the decision as well. Vucinic or Vucinic, Vucinic sounds better, is plus 600 for the submission. Shamil Gaziev taking on Dantel Mays. Gaziev? No, it's Gaziev. Shamil Gaziev taking on Dantel Mays. I mean, Dantel Mays isn't always in great matchups that are entertaining. It's never fun when the heavyweights go to decisions, but I actually think this is going to be a pretty entertaining fight where we see someone get hurt. Shamil is coming off of a loss to Rosenstrike. Prior to that, he was 12-0, looking really, really good, finishing people. Yeah, and I don't really trust the output of Downtown Mays. I think if we're looking at wrestling, potential wrestling happening in this fight, I like Shamil there. I think the recipe to win, if Dontel Mays is going to win, is to find a KO. I do like this one to end inside the distance. Kind of like Shamil here. Maybe a submission is what I'm thinking. Plus 400. Maybe like a first or a second round submission. I want to see what the odds makers think. Yeah, I mean, I really think this isn't going to go the distance. Let's just look at both of their resumes. What are they losing? Well, we know Gaziv was a knockout to Rosenstrike. Got rear naked choked and heel hooked by... So he's got 2 submission losses in the UFC. And yeah, I think Shamil at plus 400 there. Maybe the submission's on the table. Muhammad Yahya taking on Kwai Fernandez. I like both of these fighters. But Muhammad... Look I don't know what's going on with Fights Absorbed for Fernandez, but 42 per minute? Crazy. I like both of these fighters, but Muhammad Yahya losing to Trevor Peek in a 3-round decision. I don't like that. And that happened in his last fight. Both dudes, like, it's Trevor Peek, so you got to kind of survive that round 1 onslaught. And then he's really tired. And you can just break him down with good striking. So Kwai Fernandez is really well rounded, has a lot of power, is a good grappler. I don't think Yahya is going to be able to grapple with him, so I like Fernandez a lot in this spot. He is a heavy favorite. I think we've seen Yahya 1 KO loss, 2 submission losses a while ago, but Fernandez is dangerous. He's really, really dangerous. Looked really good against Diakisi even in the split decision loss. I'm going to go with Fernandez via decision. Or sorry, knockout. Plus 175. Azmet Mirzakhanov taking on Alonzo Menningfield. Yeah, I mean, the output is not great on Alonso's side. I kind of feel like he's KO or bust. Always. Jeez. We're lagging. Anyways, I think Azamat is just going to have the better output. He's going to be the better grappler if it does get to the mat. So I'm going to go with Azamat to get this done via decision. He's a pretty heavy favorite at minus 218. The odds makers like the knockout, which, I mean, yeah, we've seen Menningfield get knocked out, so, I mean, possibly, but I kind of like the decision here for Asmat at plus 275 there. So we'll just exit that. Joel Alvarez taking on Elvis Brenner. This is going to be a really good fight. I think someone's going to get... I don't think this is going the full 15 minutes. I kind of think Joel Alvarez is going to look better early, and then Elvis Brenner has shown he's got good pressure, good cardio. He can pull away with fights in the late second and third round. So the issue I have with Brenner is he does get hurt quite a bit, and I think if you're going to get hurt against Joel Alvarez, he's going to finish you. So I kind of like Joel Alvarez to get it done with an early finish. Maybe this is one, assuming something early Joel, something late Brenner, like maybe this is one we can play both sides, but I'm going to go with Joel Alvarez here. And I'm going to go with just something early, but some sort of finish, plus 100, round pops, plus 250 for round 1. I was thinking more like if we're going to do a combo, Alvarez round 1, round 2, Brenner 3 or decision, something like that, but the odds on that aren't great. But give me Joel Alvarez. Mackenzie Dern taking on Lupi Godinez. I was kind of going back and forth initially at this, just looking at the line. What's the line at? Minus 120, plus 100. But I think just after looking at Dern's recent fights, she's not going to have the stand-up to compete with Lupi Godinez. She needs this fight to get to the mat, but Lupi's probably the only one controlling whether the fight goes down there or not. It's not like Dern's going to be able to shoot for some sort of takedown and get Lupi down, in my opinion. So I think there's just a lot of skills that are in favor of Lupi. I wouldn't grapple with Dern. If you're Lupi, I think that's the only way you get submitted. And Dern is really, really good at grappling. But, do I think Lupi could stay safe in the guard of Dern? I don't know. Dern's so long, it seems like, in comparison to Lupi. Like, I really don't like that, but I am gonna go with the underdog pick here and Lupi Godinez. I think she just has more to put out there, kind of a decision machine. So I do like the decision. There's definitely not enough juice though if her money line's at plus 100. Yeah, but I'll go with Lupi Godinez on the money line in that fight. I put a little bit on Detroit and parlayed them with the Padres tonight. Tony Ferguson taking on Michael Chiesa. It's always sad seeing Tony fight these days. I don't know what kind of losing streak he's on. I assume since the Gaethje fight, pretty much he's lost everything. What am I looking at here? Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fight skid. It ain't good. It ain't good. So I just think, I mean, you looked at his, like, it was always funny watching his training videos and stuff, like, years ago, but the dude abused his body, and I just don't think he has anything left. And yeah, it's unfortunate, but I mean, maybe Tony Ferguson can submit Michael Chiesa, who we've seen submitted a bunch of times, but I like some sort of submission in this fight, and I think it's going to be Chiesa submitting Tony Ferguson early. So give me Michael Chiesa, heavy favorite at -600. I like the submission. Maybe we put a little bit on a Tony submission just for funsies, but don't expect that bet to hit. Marlon Vera taking on Davidson Figueiredo. Marlon Vera is, I think, a really talented fighter, and I think he works really hard, and then he just doesn't have a lot of output. And I know Davidson Figueiredo doesn't either, but Davidson Figueiredo is 7-1 in decisions, and Marlon Vera is 5-9. So I think he's really good. He's obviously really durable, but I don't really. I think Vera's recipe to win has got to be the finish. I don't think Figueiredo is finishing Vera, but I really like Figueiredo at 145 or 135 now, from 125. Like, the power looked good in his last two fights. And yeah, I think maybe the cardio is better, right? Maybe he's not killing himself to make weight. I think he can win a decision against Marlon Vera. This is going to be a really good fight. I think the speed advantage is going to be on Figueiredo's side. Yeah, and I think Marlon Vera's recipe to win is going to be to set traps, counter-strike, and catch Figueiredo with something nasty. So if they're going to grapple, I think Figueiredo's got the grappling advantage. So give me Davidson Figueiredo to get it done. He's the -142 favorite. I like the decision. I mean, no one's putting away Marlon Vera, it seems like, but if Vera's going to win, he's going to have to hurt Figueiredo. Maybe those to the body with some kicks. I don't know. And just to be clear, the volume's not great from either of these fighters, but like, Figueiredo's at least seems like he's got an IQ and understands, like, it's not good to drop rounds. And I don't know if Vera's ever won a first round. Not recently. Nurmagomedov taking on Michael Olejniczak. And yeah, I think Shera's probably going to go out there and knock out Michael early. Michael's coming off of 2 losses. Good boxer. But just hasn't looked good. Hasn't looked like he's been getting better. And yeah, I mean, heavy hands, but Shera's really dangerous. Both fighters are going to be aggressive out of the gate, but I think Shera's going to get it done and probably just knock him out early. So give me Shera to get it done. I like the knockout. I mean, shoot, I like the round 1 knockout. And yeah, and then the hype train continues, and we'll I mean, I don't really think this is it's a test, right? But it also depends on what version of Michael Olajaychuk we get. If we're getting anything like what we saw in the last 2 fights, I'm going to say it wasn't a great test, you know? Corey Sandhagen taking on Umar Nurmagomedov. Umar is what, like 13-0, 17-0, taking on 17-4 Sandhagen, and Umar's minus 340 favorite, and this is a big step up in competition for him. But he is good. He is really, really good. I don't know. Does the I don't know. If there was, I think Umar's gonna need to wrestle in this fight, and Sandhagen does not have good takedown defense, but I do think Umar needs to wrestle in this fight to win. Because I think Sandhagen's just a little too crafty and has too much output on the feet. And I think Umar's really good on the feet. But if you're going to win a decision against Sandhagen or finish him, I think you got to get the submission or just have some ground control against him. That's like the one area where it just seems like he can't close that hole. So, and it also depends on the opponent, but Umar is one of those guys, he should exploit it. So I like Umar to get this done. I like a decision, but I mean, I guess I could see a submission potentially if he's really persistent with the grappling and just like riding on Corey's back the whole fight. But I'm leaning towards decision here. And, I think just Corey's going to get stuck in underneath of Umar, and maybe instead of, trying to get out of there, he's focused on doing damage, and that's a tough spot to do damage from. So give me Umar. I wanted to see what the I don't know. Iran warned they were gonna, I don't know. I saw something. I don't need to see any messed up shit. Just so I think Israel killed the leader of Hamas in Iran this week, and Iran might respond, is I think the concern. A recent
they got their people. They got all the trailer parks all covered.
Two prominent.
All of the people up in the.
Two prominent black women for Kamala slinging racial.
They got them all the way there, but we have to do that. We got to change our strategy. We got to get our people. We have to get our. They got their people. They got all the trailer parks all covered. All of the people up in West Virginia in the hills, they covered. They got them all the way there to Wall Street. He did that. And we sitting there talking about the white women. Forget the white women. They're going to do what they white men tell them to do.
That's what they tell themselves.
Yeah, and they be smiling in your face. Good. They want to stay in charge. They miss Ann. Mm-hmm. So I don't care nothing about them. I know we got to do what we got to do. That's my interpretation. I'm looking at this white.
I don't know. I think like a better strategy is just like good policies, right? I mean, jeez. Why are we're like strategizing? Like, why are people strategizing? Like, we need this voter base. We need to target more of this voter base. Like, why can't you just talk to the room, right? Because otherwise you're saying different things to different people, and none of it makes sense, right? Why can't we just talk to the room? I don't know. The markets were kind of taking a tumble, so I was gonna do a little, I don't know. I got one person watching. I don't know if you're interested in financials at all. Fed borrow rate versus S&P 500. Okay. I don't think I like this chart. I thought I found a different one. Fed rates, or maybe interest rates versus S&P 500 chart. Okay, a little better. So basically I just wanted to just kind of show, like, there is typically this delayed reaction to any rates when rates go up. You can see the change in the S&P 500. I think this is actually a really good graphic. But anytime the Feds make money, so the Feds control monetary policy. Inflation was high. The only function the Fed has to lower inflation is to raise the cost of borrowing money. So because they raise the cost of it, in theory that slows the economy. There's less dollars being printed, and we're on this exponential kind of trajectory, so it might not look like it when you plot it out on a chart, but you're trying to slow the economy, slow the money supply that's going into the economy, and like, they're basically looking at the unemployment rate as an indicator for when they can stop the interest rate hikes, which they have stopped it, hiking it up further, but I think it's gonna need to hit 5% before they lower it. So I think this is pretty good. There's probably a better chart out there too. This you can kind of see it. So we're basically, on this chart, we're looking for any increase in red, and then you're looking for this market effect after the rate hikes. And so there is like a 2 to 3 year delay where after rates go up, it takes a little while for the rates to almost be realized in the market. But yeah, I mean, you could hear it early in the year, like institutions, investors, kind of macro economists. They were pushing the Feds to lower rates, but I think the Feds they're more reactionary with their policies than they are like trying to project stuff, and I think that's fair to a degree. But obviously, if you project things and you can get ahead of it early and you're right, that's the big risk condition. If you're right, then yeah, you can do things a lot more efficiently, and it probably makes sense to a degree. I don't know if you can like the feds can kind of morph together predictive analytics with their real time, their reactionary kind of approach. But yeah, I mean, we saw a pullback. We didn't see, so like any candle, and this is real basic, lowest price, highest price, right? And then where it opened and closed, right? So if it's red, you're working from top to bottom. If it's green, you're working from bottom to top, is kind of the way. So we opened somewhere up at, you can see it there, 547. Low was 528. And then high candle, you can see that. So we closed out like, 533.56. We're down in after hours. So, I mean, we'll probably test in here next week. And then it starts to get scary. I don't know what, I kind of think, everything from here, here and here, this is COVID here, and out is kind of a little wonky, so I'm not sure what kind of retrace we're looking at, but I would fully expect these two previous highs to get tested. It's kind of my thought process. And then, this is just going to take a little while to play out. I think we'll see the unemployment rate probably hit 5% this year, I would imagine. If it doesn't, who knows why? Maybe it's misreported or something, but it should. Like, the sooner it does, the sooner the feds will consider lowering rates. So, there's no sense in being weird about it. But then we'll probably see that creep up to like 6% next year, regardless of who's president. We'll probably see 7%. I don't know about 8%. And then maybe in like, the feds will lower rates then, at that point, at 5%, but then we'll I don't know. I kind of think at the 3-year, 4-year mark, would be like maybe the 2-year mark, like 2026, maybe that'll present a really nice opportunity for new home buyers and people who want to just invest in stuff. It'll be interesting to see like how crypto factors into this, because I think a lot of the reaction we're seeing is because of the dollar and how kind of screwy it is, right? So if you take away that variable, or at least you diversify, I guess it could change the formula. So but yeah, couple rough days in the market. Hey, we could see it roar back, but I don't know, maybe I'm silly, but I think these rate hikes take a while to get realized in the market.